Thank you so much for joining us today. My name's Andrew Barden. I'm the CEO of the Kenyan Wall Street. Today we have a very special episode. We are sitting down with three very unique individuals who are going to tell us and inform us on the involvement of the diaspora in regards to investment, trading, what's taking place here in Kenya, and where the future is for global trading based here out of Nairobi. Mr. Washington.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, man. My pleasure, man. It's such a pleasure to be here with you, man, on Kenyan Wall Street.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about what you do and what brought you to Nairobi in the first place.
Okay, great. Well, my name is J. David Washington, and I'm the founder of Seven Hills Development Group. Seven Hills Development Group is based in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and we are a family office. We also do private equity and real estate. Primarily, we focus on real estate development, community development, advocacy for underserved communities, and we're also lenders. So that's what our primary focus is on a day-to-day basis. Mm-hmm. And now we just feel is that there are opportunities for us to expand what we do in the U.S., in Kenya, hence the reason why we're in Nairobi now.
Awesome. And so in that lending, in that advocacy, in that education, what exactly are your plans here, and what do Kenyans need to know in regards to what your firm is doing here?
Okay, great. Well, the reason why we're actually here is that on August the 5th, we came into Nairobi for the first time. So now I'm not new to Africa. My first experience was in 1995, South Africa, and then came back in 2022 in Abidjan. And now on this third trip has been to Kenya. And I'm here because of the African Diaspora Conference that we just had right across the street at the Global Trade Center. And I was asked to come and speak to a group of young people on capital formation and forming investment groups. And so that was my session. And from that experience, being here on August 5th, I'm still here. Yeah. And so I have another 2 weeks to go. I'm going to Rwanda for the African Aviation Conference. But the reason specifically I'm in Nairobi is to drive financial literacy amongst the younger generation and to elevate and to amplify the career field of trading. I believe that trading offers a tremendous opportunity for people to level up. And it's also beneficial to folks to understand that there are more ways to accumulate and to invest. So we're working with Big Ted. I'm working with Peter. I'm also working with the Pan-African Queen to create programs, right? So that we could work with the young people of Kenya and elevate their understanding of financial and global markets.
Okay, and I don't know how much perspective you've gotten in the past month being here in regards to specifically Gen Z issues taking place in Kenya. But right now there's a real urge and a real desire of young people to take their future into their own hands.
Right.
And so you're saying you foresee trading as the way they can do that.
I see it as one opportunity. I mean, there's so many different opportunities. I met so many brilliant young people. Matter of fact, there's one in the audience, Machari. She has her own event management business. And so because we do private equity, one of the other things that I'm interested in is helping the younger generation, the Gen Zs, to be able to amplify their businesses, to take their businesses to the next level. And if we could do some level of micro lending so that their businesses can be a little bit more robust so that they can grow, we're also committed to that. So not just learning about trading and investing, but also after you've learned and you've traded and you've accumulated a little money in your account, then let's look at ways that you can invest that money in a business. Because by being self-employed and being entrepreneurial and driving that entrepreneurial spirit, the next generation of Kenyans can take things to the next level. And that's what excites me about Kenya. I've had the opportunity to meet so many young people that are thirsty, they're hungry, they're passionate, and they're looking for opportunity. And so we at Seven Hills, we want to be contributors. We want to be advocates to drive the future growth of Kenya.
Okay, and on the trading side, I mean, how do people get involved with what you're doing? You know, if one of our viewers says, I need to talk with this guy, I need to get involved, how do they access you?
Well, if you want to access us, you can go to official OG Trader on Instagram. You can inbox me, and that's how we've been communicating with folks. As we've been meeting people throughout Kenya, we've had the opportunity to go to Diani, we had the opportunity to go to Mombasa, and every time I have the chance to interact with the young people from Kenya, I say, hey, listen, follow the OG Trader on Instagram, and that's where we're posting everything live. I believe you've even had the opportunity to see the real-time activity that we're posting. So just follow us and you'll see the activities and you'll see the dates that we're in the area. You'll see the dates that we're doing the classes. We've already done 3 free classes already at the Pan Pacific Hotel here in Kenya already in Westlands.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm curious, when you refer to trading, what exactly do you mean? Because there's multiple definitions of that.
Yes. Well, for me, I'm a Goldman Sachs alum, and so I'm somewhat retired. So for me, when I'm speaking about trading, there are 2 types of ways of investing. So you have passive investing where you're doing dollar cost averaging. You might be saving $25 a month, $100 a month, saving money in your 401k. That's passive investing. When I speak about trading, I'm specifically speaking about me trading my active trading account, right? So in order to be an active trader, I know the numbers are a little steep, but in the United States, you have to have a minimum of at least 25,000 USD to be able to actively trade your account in and out. And so the instruments that I like to trade on a daily basis is the S&P 500 futures. It's also known as the SPY. I trade the Qs, I trade the futures, I trade gold, I trade silver. And the reason why I like those instruments is because there's high levels of liquidity, low levels of manipulation, right? And it also creates an opportunity here in Kenya. So just a week ago, I just traded the market for 4 hours and I made 151,000 shillings, right? So 151,000 shillings in 4 hours, that's a pretty good income. So that's what we'd like to share and show different techniques and things that we've been able to do to allow for us to be free. One of the things that we say on our Instagram daily to people, freedom is not free without financial freedom. So having the ability to trade for myself, by myself, it allows for me to travel. It allows for me to do the things that I want to do the way that I want to do them. And so we'd like to advocate for folks to add that to their investing repertoire, add that into your style of investing, and based upon your personality, you might have to go and be a long-term investor because you don't have the time or the energy to be a person that's going to be actively trading. However, that's what we're here for. And so we're going to have a trading academy where we provide trading skills and tools for the younger people.
Okay. Now there's a ton of misconceptions in regards to investment and trading here in Kenya. I'm curious if you've come across any of those with the free classes you've done so far, and, why should people consider, say, accessing global markets in New York instead of, say, here, the NSC?
Well, you can do both and. Trading the global markets does not negate you having the opportunity to trade in the Nairobi exchange, but we live in a globalized economy. And so if you wanted to increase the probability of success, it would be in your financial best interest to maybe change your work schedule. So is it going to require, Andrew, a shift? Absolutely, because now you're talking about at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you now have to go to work because you'll be trading the New York Open. But I believe that just as a strategy, just for me personally, I just believe trading the London and New York mixed session where you're trading the London Open until the London close, that intersects with the New York market.
Yeah.
And then you have a wider basket to be able to trade, and you will most likely increase the likelihood of your profitability. Okay. So that's why I would encourage the citizens of Kenya to look at the global market and take advantage of a huge opportunity, and also increase the opportunity for profitability.
Interesting. Now we're going to speak with a few of the individuals you've brought along with you today during this episode. But before we conclude, I have one question. It's required by all my guests, and it's meant to throw you off a little bit. But the question is, when you were first starting your career, what did you spend your first paycheck on?
Wow. My first paycheck. Are we talking about as a youth or as when I worked on Wall Street at Five World Trade?
I guess more of an adult, kind of exiting university, moving into the professional world.
All right. The thing that I spent my money on was making sure I looked the part. At the time when I worked at Deanwood Reynolds, this was way back at Five World Trade, I knew that I needed to dress a certain way. So my image was very, very important. So if I wanted to be in a professional environment, if I wanted to be in those rooms, I felt as though I needed to represent the people who I was looking up to as my mentors. So I mirrored the images that I saw in New York at the time. Okay.
You got to be fresh on Wall Street. People take you seriously on your shoes, your smile, your clothes, everything.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Washington, thank you so much.
Excellent, man. It was my pleasure, Andrew.
Appreciate it.
Excellent.
So next up today, I'm sitting down with the Pan-African Queen, Ms. Ruth Kirima Berry. Ms. Ruth, thank you so much for sitting with me today.
My pleasure.
So please tell me a little bit about what you do.
Okay. My official roles include Executive Director of Kenya Diaspora Alliance, which is our national organization globally for all Kenyans. My other hat is Director of World Map Africa, which is more a Pan-African organization. Personally, I'm Director of Alpha Diro, which specializes in diaspora remittances around Pan-Africa.
Interesting. So in regards to the diaspora, I'm curious from your perspective, how involved is the diaspora back home? Are there different levels of involvement people have? You know I have a few friends who have moved abroad to the US, UK, and such. And a lot of people see it as starting afresh. And many people in my network decided, I'm leaving my networks in Kenya. I'm starting brand new. I'm curious from your perspective how you've seen that.
In the country, our diaspora remittances are 1 trillion a year. So there's a lot of interest in investing back home. But really our take is both ways, because we're focused on skills transfer and labor migration. So you go there and you earn pounds and dollars, but then you remit it home and you actually invest in the home market. So it's two ways. There's diaspora coming here, but there's diaspora going out internationally, but both contributing to the country.
Interesting. I was in a discussion yesterday with someone, and they had told me that 80% of all remittances coming into the country are used for personal consumption, while only 20% is set aside for investments and such. I'm curious, from your experience, do you agree with those figures? Are those aligned with what you typically work with?
I can't talk to the broader picture, but I specialize in real estate, and I would say that is more half and half. I would say more that is 50-50, because most diaspora want to build somewhere, either where they're going to live or where they came from or for granny. So I would say in my speciality, it's more 50 and 50. I also specialize in mining. And mining, in Kenya, we only have 1% of GDP in mining. So there's a lot of interest from that diaspora of supporting the mining industry. And currently, it's in the same, under the same government organization. So it's housing and mining. So there's a lot of diaspora in support of that.
Interesting. And I'm curious, in regards to real estate, are people typically coming in and buying up, say, apartments? Are they buying townhouses? Are they buying land?
I would say I come from a real estate company, the GK Kirima Estate. And what I found, I've lived abroad most of my life, but what I found is actually diaspora want to buy particularly on virgin land, where there's no complications about just going in and buying what you want. Rarely do they want to buy apartments because they're not seeing the added value. You know, I can buy an apartment in New York. And also, more and more people are interested in townhouses, so you can just move your family in there, in and out. And a lot of our diaspora are living in more than one country.
Yeah.
So if you have your townhouse here and in London, it's just an easy transmit. So I would say more virgin land. That's the real focus, especially in the countryside, where they want to invest back to their community or build their own traditional house.
And you don't want to have to worry about a bunch of ownership issues, title issues.
No, not at all. And that is a very big problem for diaspora in terms of actually the trust. When they give the remittance to buy a piece of land, it's very difficult because you can't trail your money. There's a lot of trust involved, which is sometimes disappointing because we can't actually monitor that. It's only for the government to actually address that. So between a rock and a hard place, because we're supporting the investment, but we can't guarantee how the funds are being transmitted in-house. So if I send funds to, I don't know, a cousin, and I expect them to do ABC, so sometimes it goes a bit wobbly down the line. But that's what I would say is the main issue of diaspora investment in real estate.
Okay, and I'm curious, you know, you've come here today with Mr. Washington. I'm curious, you know, how you two are collaborating or working together in regards to opening up trading opportunities for Kenyans, individuals in the diaspora across the globe.
Okay, Mr. Washington and I are colleagues. As I say, my company is called Alpha Diro, and Mr. Washington is very keen to, as you say, put in a lot of investment in Kenya. So I am his partner for Africa. So that's how we're working together. So if we have a good project in Ghana, we both source what we feel would work and invest that way. Of course, what we don't have is a lot of financial education, which is what Mr. Washington specializes in. And we very much play the long game because it is all about our youth. So we're very focused on mentoring, sponsorship of that next generation, becoming what the next level up. So Mr. Washington and I are very focused on that, tomorrow's millionaires, tomorrow's leaders. So that's the long game Mr. Washington and I are playing.
Okay, interesting. And I'm curious from back to what you had discussed on the remittance side. I'm curious, what are some of the biggest challenges people face when remitting money back home?
Well, because there's no safety guards. I could send it anywhere I like, to what bank I like. But what for? It's not an investment in the bank shares. It's actually to invest with whatever I choose. And so I think that's the issue. There is no streamline. And that is where Alpha Diro comes in. Because we're a Pan-African organization, we can actually manage the funds more and be accountable for all the diaspora investments. And so I think that is a big problem because there's not one channel that all the diaspora use. And I would say that's the 100%, white elephant in the room.
Does there need to be a single channel for remittances? Because I know I sit on the board of the FinTech Association here in Kenya. And, we're always talking about cross-border payments, remittances. It's always a challenge. But I know there are a number of different players in the space and such. So I'm curious, the added value of having remittances go through a more singular platform as opposed to, a diversity of, say, 500 different platforms.
In our view, it's just one word, accountability. Because when I'm sending it in 500, it's all up and down. So if simple accountability. And of course, I also, as a diasporan, was previously using a million different working styles. But that's what I found.
Okay.
Yeah, simple is best.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I have one last question for you.
Yes.
As I mentioned earlier, I ask all of my guests this. And the question is, when you were first starting your career, what did you spend your first paycheck on?
I spent it on real estate. I come from a very famous real estate family. And I actually, from the age of 5, I did construction. My last year of university, I had bought already a very, very tiny flat in the UK. And so from a family that started construction at 5 years, no choice.
It was a requirement.
Absolutely no. I think I would have got into so much trouble with extensive family if I decided to go in mining,
Yeah.
which I'm very passionate about. So where would that come from? I think I'd been in so much trouble.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
A pleasure.
Mr. KB, thank you so much for sitting down with me today.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about what you do and how you wound up here in Nairobi.
Okay. Well, my name is Kenyatta Baraka. I usually go by KB. From Chicago, but I live here in Nairobi, been here a couple of years. I consider myself Pan-African.
Okay.
So everybody talks about the diaspora, and a lot of times they're kind of mentioning Africans who, go abroad. But from our perspective, we're the kind of lost tribes of Africa who, been in the West for 300 or so years.
Coming back home.
Exactly, coming back home as a diaspora. So, I'm Pan-African. I think we all need to build together. We all need to work and grow and help build Africa so it can become the powerhouse that it really truly should be.
Okay. Yeah. And before we started rolling, you had mentioned that, you've been living in different parts of the continent. I'm curious, where have you been living? How do you find Kenya?
Yeah, well, Kenya is great. I definitely love Nairobi. I actually lived in Nairobi like 20 years ago.
Oh, okay.
I was working here on the World Bank project. I'm a civil engineer by training, but I do mostly IT now. So basically back then we were working on the road inventory and condition surveys, so we kind of computerized the road networks. So we had teams going down all the road networks in Kenya, collecting the location data. But as we travel, we collect the survey data as far as the conditions of the roads. And so we kind of implemented the first GIS system that you could use to basically make maps of the country and, plan your road developments based off of, where the dollars would go to make a most efficient improvements in the roads.
Okay, so when my Uber arrives to the right spot, you laid some of the foundational stones for that.
Yeah, we were the first ones to actually computerize the road network. So that first GPS, mapping was done, 20 years ago on the project I was working on.
Okay, awesome, cool. Yeah. Now, today you've come here with Mr. Washington, and I'm curious, with all of the great work that he's doing and the team is doing in regards to, say, financial inclusion, financial literacy, trading training, and such. I'm curious, how you fit into the whole mix.
Yeah, well, actually, David, he's a good personal friend of mine, and, we kind of kindred spirits in a way. We both love Africa. We both have a passion for the youth, and we both want to do whatever we can to help, build. And so he's, on the financial side. I'm in more IT technology, and we're just working together however we can to help build. Okay. Yeah.
Well, this is the Silicon Savannah.
Yes, I hear, and it's Nairobi is a very beautiful place. I think. I love Nairobi because it has all the comforts of a metropolitan type city, but you're in the middle of Africa. So you still have the culture, you still have the beautiful weather. And it's just amazing to be here and be a part of the growth.
Yeah. And I'm curious, from when you were here 20 years ago to now.
Yeah.
It's going to sound like a really stupid question, but what has changed?
Everything, really. It was very nice back then. It was still a big city. It was still, metropolitan area. Yeah. But now you just have so many buildings. And I think the one big change is the road. Because, back then there were really no highways. Yeah. When I was here, they were building Thika Road. That was like the first highway they were building. But now, you have the, the highways all over the place. And even just when you leave Nairobi, you have, actual dual lane carriageways to a lot of different areas. So, I think that road infrastructure and then also the buildings, everywhere you see skyscrapers, even, they were in CBD before, but now, you go Kilimani, Westlands, everything's built up, so I think that's the infrastructure has definitely changed. But there's still so much room for growth. Right now, everything is focused in the Nairobi area, which is great. But one day you're going to have this same type of development all through Kenya. And, when you get to that point, it's so much opportunities outside of Nairobi where everybody's trying to come to the city where, in 10, 20 years, it's going to be the city everywhere. Yeah. And I think that's really the future of Kenya. Yeah.
I think that's a really interesting thing that I learned when I moved from the U.S. here. Whereas the capital is the main city. Yeah. We have Mombasa, Eldoret, but Nairobi is the main city. Whereas, us coming from the U.S., some of the, most people don't know New York City is not the capital city
definitely not.
of even New York State.
Yeah.
There are other places to develop, and I think we're definitely on the way to seeing massive growth in places like Siaya County, Kakamega, West Pokot. We're going to start seeing more and more that's going to be taking place outside of Nairobi.
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. Now, as I mentioned with all of my previous guests, I do have one question that is obligatory. And the question is, when you were first starting your career, what did you spend your first paycheck on?
Okay. Yeah, well, I guess it's probably... I had my first internship in college, and so I was interning at Amoco Chemicals outside of Chicago. I was actually started as a chemical engineer. Okay. And I decided to switch to civil. I didn't really like it after that. But basically my first check, it was a pretty good internship. It was the first time I had any kind of real money, if you call it that. But, for me, it was real money. And so after my first check, I was basically saving up and I bought a car, because I wanted a car. My family didn't really want to buy me one. So, I worked and got one. And then I guess for the second half of that summer, kind of quit the job and was just driving around the city and state. Yeah. Okay.
And what car did you buy?
It was a, what was it? It was a T-Bird, an old T-Bird with T-tops. Like old Thunderbird. Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thank you for having me.